All right, welcome to the Zaprite webinar on our new events ticket feature. We'll give people a few minutes to hop in here, and then I'll kick it off. And we're going to be joined by my good friend Rod Rowdy, who's going to give a little bit of his own experience working with the tickets because they've already onboarded Bitcoin Park. So we'll just give everybody a few minutes, and then we'll get started. All right. I'll get started just to tell you a little bit of the background of the why of the product, and I'll turn it over to Rod to talk about his experience with it. First, for those of you guys who are not as familiar with Zaprite, I'm going to lay a little groundwork. But Zaprite is a Bitcoin payments gateway that supports both Bitcoin, Lightning, fiat natively. We also have support for Tether. The support for Tether is more limited, but our platform is non-custodial. We're never in possessions of anybody's funds. We support both non-custodial on-chain and Lightning methods of payment as well as custodial solutions. So something for everybody. We have a range of products and commerce tools that we built on top of the gateway. We've got invoices, payment links, now event tickets. We've got a basic point of sale that's a virtual point of sale, an e-commerce connection with WooCommerce, and then an API. Today we're going to focus on events tickets. The reason why we built this product is because a number of our customers were already using Zaprite and our payment links for a tickets application. It was imperfect, but we saw enough success with the product, and looking around at the range of solutions and what people both in the Bitcoin community were using to facilitate their ticket solutions, as well as people that are just value Bitcoin and have a priority around Bitcoin that were hosting events, didn't really have a good way to natively support both Bitcoin and fiat, and it really degrades the ticket experience. And so we built it to be able to create a solution both for people who are hosting Bitcoin events, whether it's people like Rod and Bitcoin Park hosting summits, or people hosting conferences, or if you're hosting a retreat or other events where you need a ticket solution. We'll talk about all the features that are there. But before we dive into really what's in the product, I want to turn it over to Rod. Rod's already using the product for Imagine If, which is coming up in Nashville in about a month. So just brought, Rod, when I announced this, immediately hopped in the mentions and said, let me run this. I love the product, and I immediately took him up on it because when you got a power user like Rod and just a strong advocate, and we really value our customers because they are our best advocates, but wanted to at least at the start turn it over to Rod, and then I'll take it back over to run through the slides, and then I'll show a live demo of the product at the end as well. So Rod, if you could just share a little bit about your experience.
Totally. And so Parker, we've been a happy Zaprite customer. I probably since the inception of Bitcoin Park. I mean, just so we reluctantly start you when you and John and Will were like, "Hey, we got this ticketing feature." I was very reluctant at first to even switch over because I didn't want to mess up my workflow, and this is mission critical workflow for us. Ticketing and that member experience is massive to us, and we had a pretty good integration with Typeform, or not even integration, like a workflow, such that people could just pay, with their fiat credit card or request a Bitcoin payment link. And we had a process, right? That if you requested Bitcoin, we'd get an email, then we'd manually respond and we'd send you a Zaprite link. It was imperfect, but it was good enough. But when you guys introduced this Zaprite ticketing feature, it killed three birds with one stone, right? So we actually had to go print off manually a check-in list. We go append that against our lanyards and so on, and then check people in. Then we would go and invoice people with, Bitcoin and so on. And we couldn't, this was like another benefit of just Zaprite in general. I love, by the way, quick tangent, that fiat premium. We always assign a fiat premium. It is just such a nice touch that for any small business owner that's looking to send invoices that doesn't want to get dinged the 3% or 4% on the credit card fees and then transfer it over, which then incentivizes the counterparty to pay in Bitcoin. It's such a great feature. So we use the ticketing feature and it just works. It was pretty remarkable how easily we got it into our workflows. And we now have shortcut keys, redirects with Jack. We vibe code just different redirects for folks to get the different payment links and then processes. We have a name, company, email, keep it super tight and simple. And now for Imagine If, as well as our Custody and Treasury Summit, both are tracking. I mean, they're 150, 200 people there. And then Imagine If is, I don't know how many people it's going to be when it's all said and done, but I mean, it's a pretty big, larger quantity than our regular summits, and it's all powered now by this Zaprite ticketing feature.
Well, and that is one thing, and I'll show folks when we go through the flow. But oftentimes, if someone's using a ticket solution, whether it's TicketSocket or hosting an event on Eventbrite, or using something like WooCommerce or even Shopify, that the payment flows are really built for fiat, and it requires a lot more information to collect, which ultimately introduces friction, and that having a very seamless checkout that only intakes just the amount of information that you need and then allows for payment in either fiat or Bitcoin natively really improves the experience for the payer and the customer, which our goal is ultimately to drive not just Bitcoin sales, but overall sales, to have less friction, less fallout. So really appreciate you mentioning that.
And on top of that, I like to spend more of my time. We have zero AR AP department, and honestly, Bitcoin Park will probably never have an AR AP department. I mean, we send our invoices, we expect them to get paid, and we have an automated kind of like follow-up system in order for that to happen. And with these payment links, and especially the ticketing feature, it makes it just so much easier to have them all in one. So I'm not worrying about like that type form registration database versus this payment area here to have that database to then append all that information back into whatever accounting system I'm using. It For any of these small business owners that are out there that are always in multiple systems, being able to consolidate them into one Bitcoin native invoicing and ticketing system is going to be compounding for us in 2026. It actually, not to boost Parker, Will, and John, like it allows us to even think bigger and think about more opportunities that we could be doing in 2026 and beyond for the community. So I cannot thank you guys enough. This is pretty remarkable.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and also appreciate you making the offer and carving out a part of the day to join us. Really appreciate it. And look forward to being in Nashville in a few weeks, and looking forward to both the summit on custody and treasury and Imagine If. So, but thank you, Rod.
And I'll just say this, if you're a small business owner and you seriously have any questions about this, I love like just jamming on this kind of like workflow stuff. Hit me up. I'm happy to give you like our entire playbook and systems as it relates to how we're using Zaprite and the ticketing feature. It is super self-explanatory on your own. You'll probably do it better than me, but if I can be any help or resource, hit me up. I love this stuff. So thank you, Parker.
All right, appreciate it, Rod. I'm gonna put you back into the main room and pull the presentation back up. But thank you. All right, we'll dive into it. So first, I'm gonna go over what the events tickets features are, what's there, and then I'll go through one by one. So what it includes is a hosted event landing page and checkout. It has a full branded experience for each of your events. If you have multiple events and the events are branded differently, you'll be able to brand them not just to a corporate identity, but to the event itself. You'll be able to manage multiple tickets with cart functionality. That's what's shown on this page. You'll have automated issuance of tickets with QR codes. So once a ticket has been purchased or multiple tickets have been purchased, both the receipt will be auto emailed as well as the tickets, which have compatibility with both Apple and Google Wallets. So the people attending the events can save it to their Apple Google Wallets at the time that they purchase it to make ease of check-in. You'll have the ability to have both Bitcoin on-chain payments that could go directly to a hardware wallet like a cold card or an unchained vault or a Strike account. You'll also have the ability to accept Lightning natively built in. Again, you could just have an LND node connected for a non-custodial Lightning setup, other non-custodial setups as well, or custodial setups like Strike and OpenNode. We have a range. We'll walk through those. But then also you can connect fiat payments natively. So you'll be able to take things like credit cards, connecting either a Stripe or Square account, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. In addition to that, you'll be able to create coupon codes if you have partners, so that if you have partners that are distributing for you in the event. You'll be able to track those sales, and those partners will be able to offer discounts. You'll also be able to create UTM tags to create basically referral links, so you can see where people are coming from to get to the landing pages. We have flexible customer intake forms. I'll talk about that. Again, the solution is built natively for both Bitcoin and fiat, and what that allows you to do is minimize the information rather than have a one-size-fit-all checkout. You have automated email receipts, and then we also have an API and webhooks. So if you want to take this data to kick off other marketing flows, you'll be able to do that, and then obviously sales reporting. Just to talk over quickly a number of the different payment methods. I mentioned a few of them, but again, you could connect a Trezor Ledger Cold Card, any hardware wallet. You could connect a hardware wallet or a software wallet via Sparrow. You could connect a non-custodial node, Lightning node like LND. If you run a BTC Pay server, you can connect BTC Pay server to Zaprite. Oftentimes people think that Zaprite is competitive with BTC Pay. It's really just a matter of preferences and tools, but we build on top of BTC Pay just like we build on top of a hardware wallet or a custodial account like OpenNode, Speed, Square, Blink, Breeze if you have a non-custodial wallet, and then on the fiat side, Stripe, PayPal, and then also Strike on the Bitcoin side. These are a few of the most popular. We have others, but we can discuss those with anybody, and we're adding more connections all the time. This is just a quick sample of what the checkout flow looks like before we get into the ticket specifically. So when you heard Rod talk about the value of putting a fiat premium, oftentimes people put Bitcoin discounts. You don't have to put a premium or discount on a Zaprite checkout. It is wholly in your control as a customer. The option is there. If you don't want to, the customer will never know. But these tools are great because they allow for you to communicate that Bitcoin is preferred without actually having to have a conversation. And when you're able to have Bitcoin and fiat side by side on the same level playing field, with the ability to have Lightning and Bitcoin as the first options, or to put a discount or premium. There's a number of ways to communicate to your customer base and your audience that you actually want to be paid in Bitcoin. That communication is one of the most powerful ways to actually get paid in Bitcoin. Everybody has dollar denominated costs or fiat denominated costs, and people understand that you're inevitably going to likely convert some of your Bitcoin back into fiat to cover expenses, particularly related to events. But communicating that you actually want the Bitcoin and it's not just going to be auto-converted to fiat is a powerful way to communicate to your customers and audience to actually receive Bitcoin. One of the other tools that we have here is that it allows for the customer, before they click through a payment option, to see what they would save, to actually quantify it. My personal preference is to put that premium on fiat to drive Bitcoin sales, because in my mind, it's the right framing. If you want to pay me in the worst form of money, you actually have to pay more. And when customers are put in that position, they're more likely to pay in fiat to get, or to pay in Bitcoin to get the benefit. But you can set it at whatever threshold you want to not introduce more friction or to disincentivize people to go through the payment flow if they're paying in fiat. But again, all of this is at your option. So when it comes down to ticket issuance, one of the things to know is that when somebody actually completes the purchase of a ticket, they will then have an automated email that delivers the ticket to them. What I have on the screen on the right side is an image of what the mobile version of the ticket, once it's issued, looks like, with a QR code, with a ticket ID, with the branding from your event. Here it has very generic branding, but if you get set up and set your own branding for the event, that will flow through to the tickets. The first column is the web version of the ticket. The center column is basically if somebody saves the Zaprite ticket into a Google Wallet or an Apple Wallet, the branding will carry forward, so it's a great brand experience as well. And then they'll also get updates on their phone when the events are upcoming. We have the ability, two ways for check-in once somebody has purchased a ticket and the day of the event comes, to scan guests into the event. We have a web-based scanner, so you can have multiple people from your team that don't need access to the Zaprite account that can have access to the scanner to be checking people in. We also have a backup in the account to allow for people to look up participants and then manually check them in. It also works for multiple day events, such that if somebody's already checked in, they can rescan. Someone will see that they're already checked in, but then can recheck them in for a second day of the event, and we'll continue to make that functionality better and better. When somebody scans a valid ticket, it will show that the ticket is valid. They will click to check the attendee in, and then they will get the success page, which appears on the right. And I'll walk through a demo of all of this. Few things. Creating events is also really simple. So you can have multiple events all running in parallel that all have their own unique branding. You'd title the event, you'd select an image for the event itself for the landing page. And I'll walk through kind of the different marketing assets and brand assets that you're able to use to really personalize this for your brand, whether at the corporate level or for the event. You'll have that branding logo and then the brand color so that everything is flowing through and it feels very native to your business. You can provide a description for the event location, start date, end date. So when somebody lands on the payment page, and the way that we have structured this is it can work as a standalone feature, or you can have this connected to a marketing site. So they start at your marketing site and then flow through to a landing page that is a Zaprite tickets event page, but is all natively supportive of your brand. So it feels like a very natural extension. In terms of adding tickets, again, you can add multiple ticket types. When you see a demo of this in just a second, it will be very familiar. But again, you could have one ticket, general admission, or you could have multiple tickets. You could have general admission, VIP. You could add bundles so that it's a VIP ticket with a ticket to an after party. Again, that is something that will continue to make more feature rich over time. But you could have 5 tickets or 10 tickets. There's no limit there, and they're very easy to create. With each ticket, you will also have inventory management. And then there'll be a global inventory management as well, as if you have a max number of tickets that you can sell across a range of tickets, but then also setting a cap and tracking on the individual ticket type. You can also set optional taxes, and you can also set purchase limits in terms of how many individual tickets a single person could purchase if you want to. Again, on the API enhancement, currently, you can't issue Zaprite tickets via the API, but you can connect our API into your other workflows, such that when people purchase tickets, we have natively built in the ability to auto redirect once a purchase is complete to back to your own marketing website with a success page. But also you can take that data and push it to different marketing tools if you want to kick off an email flow. So just know that that is there. And I'm happy to answer questions about that. I'm going to go over standard ticket pricing because this feature does come with incremental fees to our base fees. I'm going to walk through those, but there is custom pricing. We do have the ability to set custom pricing on a customer by customer basis. Our goal is to align incentives such that as we're delivering more value, we're receiving more compensation as that value is delivered. Our standard pricing is an account fee of $25. These transaction fees are all credited toward that base account fee such that they're not incremental to, such that the first $25 worth of transaction fees are effectively already paid for, and then you'll only accrue transaction fees if the total fees would be in excess of $25 a month. We have a per ticket fee of $3 per ticket. So we really built this product for larger events that have more complex needs and actually need to issue tickets and then have an efficient way to manage those tickets, manage guest lists, and then ultimately check guests in. But again, if you're doing a higher volume in terms of number of transactions and number of tickets, We have the ability to align those interests. This is just the standard pricing. And then we have a transaction fee of 1%, and that is only charged on Bitcoin and Lightning. And the goal is to align incentives throughout this, that as we're converting more Bitcoin sales, our ultimate goal is to convert more sales total. But as you convert more Bitcoin sales, and say if you used a different application, if you would have had 5% of your sales in Bitcoin, that if you use Zaprite, you might have 20% of your sales in Bitcoin, or 30% or 40%. And for each transaction that is done in Bitcoin versus fiat, we're driving that incremental savings of something like a credit card processing fee of 3% or higher. And then there's also a transaction cap. If the tickets are very expensive, but we really built this pricing around, and we did this based on looking at the market of the type of events that we're targeting supporting, that generally would have tickets in the range of $250 to $350. So on this page, it walks through an example of a ticket that's $300, which would have, say if somebody bought 2 tickets, it would be 2 times $3 per ticket, $6, 1%. Would be on the actual value if paid in Bitcoin. Again, if someone pays in fiat, there's no incremental fees on fiat. Our goal is not to charge you more to accept fiat. Our goal is to incentivize people to pay in Bitcoin, or if they want to pay in fiat, to do that very seamlessly. But in that world, if customers paid in Bitcoin, then it would be in aggregate 2%. And so if you were thinking about that relative to a number of other solutions, this is just a walkthrough of some comparison to some comps. But oftentimes when you use a ticket solution that is more traditional in the fiat world, they will charge you some percentage of the transaction regardless of how large the transaction is. And for us to align interest, we split out and had more of it weighted to the ticket, and then had a lower fee on the percentage to incentivize as you are selling more and in higher value unit amounts, that we're not just incrementally charging a percent, but would compare to something like Eventbrite that takes approximately 7.2% per transactions, or TicketSocket at 6.7%, or something that's more budget like Ticket Spice that's 3.3%. But our goal would be to drive those Bitcoin sales and have your net sales and your net kind of fee rate being between 2 and 2.5% based on the split. But again, our pricing, these are standard pricing for a standard event. And then also we do have payment links where they don't have these transaction fees. So if you have a smaller event and it doesn't have the needs of being able to issue tickets and then check people in and manage guest lists, that at Zaprite we always intend to have a product that doesn't have these incremental fees, but these incremental fees are specifically tied to incremental value being delivered. Another thing about the tickets before I step into a demo is that the ticket solution is very works very seamlessly, or aligns very well with our invoicing solution. So if you're using Zaprite for invoices to say invoice sponsors of the event, all in one place, you can also have your ticket solution. So you're managing all of your payments, all of the invoices to sponsors, as well as all the tickets that you're selling to guests, all in one place. Bitcoin fiat makes the job for your operations and finance team much easier, because all of the data is in one place and everyone can be managing from the same source of truth. And just noting that. Again, if you're interested in this, and I'll show a demo, you can reach out to us at dropfiat@zaprite.com. You can also email me personally, parker@zaprite.com. But if you are interested, please reach out. Now what I'll do, and then I'll open it up, I'll do a demo for about 10 to 15 minutes so you can see this live and in action, and then I'll open up the chat if people have questions. But let me go ahead and share this now. So I'm gonna share on my screen a Zaprite demo account. So you all should be seeing my Zaprite demo account. So I'm gonna go through and show an events tickets. I'm gonna go use a demo experience of someone that's already using our application for tickets, which is the Ireland Bitcoin conference. So I'm going to jump ahead to what the actual user experience looks like, and then I'll come back into the account to show you the tools that are available. So this is what a Zaprite branded checkout page looks like. So again, it allows for the management of multiple ticket types as well as with basic cart functionality for those tickets. So I can go in here and select multiple tickets. I can go to the checkout. We do also, as I mentioned, support promo codes. So if I come back in here, I need to look and see what my promo codes that are set up are, just because I couldn't remember it off the top of my hand. EIRE10. So if I type in EIRE10, apply, this shows that there's a 10% discount in the account. You can create any number of discount codes. Again, if you just want a generic discount for friends, or if you have partners that are helping to distribute the event to their channels, you can create multiple different coupon codes. I'll show you quickly how easily that happens. Here, again, as I mentioned, you can create these fields are very customizable. Typically, when you would see a standard stock ticket platform that's built for fiat, it's going to have a checkout flow that is assuming people are paying in fiat. When you're thinking about the world that's both Bitcoin native and fiat, you can limit the information to just what you need to intake. So I'm going to put parker@zaprite.com. This has a company field as optional. I'm not going to put that in. So then here, again, this checkout currently just has Bitcoin and card set up. But here's an example where we have a Bitcoin discount. So it's showing me my total. It's showing me I have a discount for this coupon code. And then I could pay on card and or Bitcoin. And so if I select Bitcoin, we just have a test payment. I'm going to work through this flow. But if it was a live event, then if you were using a hardware wallet, it would display a QR code with the Bitcoin address and the amount of Bitcoin owed. I'm really doing this to demonstrate the experience around tickets. But then if somebody paid, let's do this, they would get a success page. It would say, thank you for your purchase. Your receipt and tickets have been emailed to you. I'm going to go off screen and grab this ticket quickly. So you guys can, and I'll bring it back in here so you can see it. And I'll come back here. So this I've just accessed from my email, but this is the ticket that has been issued automatically once it's been paid. Again, somebody could add it to their Apple Wallet or Google Wallet. I could come back in here to the event just to show you how easy this is to edit. I could add another ticket as an example, which would be, let's just call it, even though we have a whale pass, VIP ticket. You could add a new image. You could put a price on it, $500. Again, you could add a tax rate for the ticket. You could manage the number of tickets. Say if you only want to have 100 VIP tickets, then you could also set a max order number or max number per order. And then I'm going to go ahead and close this, but just letting you know how easy that is. This top part is where you basically set all of the information for the event itself. So this image here, if I come through here and I am going to, let's see, I'm going to purchase again, just so you know, like this branding image here is what you would input. In this image, this branding logo is right here next to Bitcoin Ireland. The color, again, it's because it's Irish, it's very consistent with Zaprite, but again, you could change this color to your brand color. Then if I came down, this is where I mentioned that this is very flexible. So if you wanted to only require an email, we require that people have an email so that we can have a place to auto deliver the tickets. So that's important. But then also I can come in here and I can change the different user connections for payments. So I could select something like IBEX for Lightning. And then this is also customizable. This is something that I mentioned that is a good tool where you can put the different payment methods in orders. And everything that we're doing is designed to create the checkout that you want. So if you don't want to have a Bitcoin discount or a fiat premium, if I come here, I can easily just delete it so that you don't display anything. And then if I come back to the event to view, I can go and I can add a ticket. I can go to checkout. And then here, it just has an email. And all you require is an email for purchase. You continue, and you see that there's Lightning, Bitcoin, and card. It's very flexible. You could, again, I wouldn't recommend it, but if I come through my connections tabs, we have for international, which most people who are using us for international reasons use either PayPal or Stripe. We also support Square for processing. We're adding more fiat and Bitcoin methods of payment all the time. You could also connect something like the Castle application, which allows you to auto convert fiat to Bitcoin. And then it also works with all of our other different payment methods, our payment links, our point of sale, event tickets, invoices, recurring invoices. The invoices are really pertinent relative to sponsors. But then if I come through event tickets, I can go to this Bitcoin Ireland and I can see the summary of tickets that I've sold. To manage tickets, I can come through here and see the different individual tickets that have been issued. Again, here you can look somebody up to search them, to manually check in, or again, as I mentioned, we have a scanner. Ultimately, our goal is to be able to have a ticket solution that has all of the features that anyone would need to host events that are, ranging from 100 people to 200 people to thousands of people. And, very gracious of Rod to join us at the top, but that, kind of what our goal is it's not just people hosting Bitcoin events. It's anybody that values Bitcoin, that values having an experience that's natively built, that results in high conversions, high number of sales, not just Bitcoin, but natively supports fiat, but in a way that incentivizes people to pay you actually in the currency that you want to be paid in. So please reach out to us. You can reach out to us at dropfiat at zaprite.com. You can go to the website, submit a contact form, again, or you could email me directly at parker@zaprite.com. So I'll call it a wrap. And thank you for joining us, and reach out to us if you have any questions, and we'll look forward to supporting you. Thanks.